Hello everyone, good morning and welcome to the webinar today. Let's wait for a few more seconds till all the attendees walk in. I believe everyone is in. Welcome everyone, my name is Jatin Dhawan. I am the North America Marketing Manager for Kelton Tech. Thank you for joining us for our webinar today on how to efficiently prepare for the transition to SAP S/4HANA system conversion. But before we get started, I need to go over a little bit of housekeeping. Should you have any questions during the presentation, please type them into the Q&A section of your control panel and we will address them at the end of the webinar. If we do not have time to respond to your questions live, we will respond to them via email. As a reminder, this session is being recorded. We will also be sending a link to the recording and the slide deck in the next few days. But before we get started on today's topic, I would like to provide you with a brief corporate overview. Kelton Tech has been a pioneer of digital transformation for the past decade with operations in North America, Europe, and Asia Pacific. Our clients range from startups to Fortune 500 companies with a core strength supported through our ISO 9001 certification and a CMMI level 5 compliance. We are a 1500 plus employee strong and is a publicly traded company. Kelton Tech is a new age global IT services consulting company. We design, develop, and operate digital technologies that create new business models for our clients. Our digital services cross three major pillars: digital transformation. Our digital services portfolio include digital commerce and marketing, enterprise mobility, digital governance, big data and analytics, software, R&D, and outsourced co-product development. Digital integration provides integration services in support of our digital systems by providing focused services on API strategy and management, IoT integration, enterprise integration, and OT/IT integration. Digital enterprises enable intelligent enterprises by leveraging end-to-end SAP solutions as an SAP Gold partner with a core expertise in ERP, PLM, CRMs, and SCM implementations. I am honored to have with me today Dr. Srinivas Bandi and Mr. Ramesh Srinivasan. Dr. Srinivas Bandi is a technology professional with more than 2 decades of rich experience in SAP roadmap consulting, encompassing SAP best practice implementations and adopting SAP standard processes and minimizing customization. Ramesh is an experienced enterprise architect in SAP technology with 22 plus years of SAP experience. He has a demonstrated expertise in S4HANA COE, solution design, architect, delivery assurance in S4HANA, and SAP cloud migrations, and successful implementations of mission critical enterprise software. Now I will hand over to Dr. Bandi to begin our official webinar discussions. Over to you, Dr. Bandi.
Thank you, Jatin. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good day, to be precise. Thanks for joining and taking your time and joining this particular webinar. This is the third in the series. We conducted one on S4HANA in the month of October. The second one we conducted in the third week of December on the Activate methodology. And based on the feedback that we have received, this third webinar, we are focusing on the conversion. Ramesh will take you into the discussions, especially focusing on the system conversion and how you can prepare well before you embark on this particular journey. If you have any observations and any recommendations with regard to some of the webinars, kindly share with us, and we respect that, and we will tailor our next follow-up webinars on those topics and focus attention on that. We really appreciate your attendance, and without much ado, I request Ramesh to take it over. Over to you, Ramesh.
Thank you, Dr. Bandi. Good morning, everyone. I hope all of you can hear me clearly. So today's webinar, we are going to talk about S4HANA system conversion. We'll briefly talk about the overview of what is system conversion and how we can go about doing system conversion project. And also we will talk about more in detail on the specific areas that are going to be important for us to consider what will be required for earlier preparation, what can be kind of roadblocks or challenges that can come along the way. So we will also talk about what are the key areas from a technical aspect, from a business aspect, and also from a functional aspect. So we will cover a little bit of best practices that we need to uh, adopt for system conversion, and then we will also discuss a little bit about how Kelton Tech can support or help you in this journey. Then we will take up questions at the end. So that's the overall agenda for today. So I will try to cover as much as possible in detail. Considering the time, we will we will touch upon certain points. If you need specific information on that, we can definitely follow up and have more detailed discussions. So with that, I will start the introduction to the S4HANA conversion. First of all, we'll talk about the transition options. What are the ways in which we can, as a customer, you will be able to get into S4HANA as a target environment. The typical thing that people talk about is going for a new implementation. It's a greenfield implementation, what we call. There could be customers having already existing ERP implementations, or it could be non-SAP ERP. And if you wish to go into S4 HANA, you can go for a totally new implementation from scratch, and you can pick up whatever is relevant from your existing ERP, be it SAP or non-SAP. So there you have two options as a target environment. You can go for on-premise edition, or you can go for cloud edition. That is for a greenfield implementation. So this is for customers who would like to start off fresh. Okay, even if they have an SAP implementation, they would like to start from a scratch and implement the required business processes. So the second option that we have is system conversion. It's also called as a brownfield. We can take an existing ECC or ERP instance and convert it entirely into a new S4 HANA, into an S4 HANA system. Whatever you have in your ERP system will come into the S4 HANA. You will be able to start using whatever works today should work in the S4 HANA. That's the typical consideration that people adopt for going for a system conversion. So I can take all my historical data, I can take my custom programs, whatever I've developed, and that can come into the S4 HANA system. There is a third option. If customers have multiple ERP systems and they would like to selectively move data into S4 HANA, or they would like to consolidate multiple ERP instances into a single S4 HANA system. So this is where we call it as a transformation. In a transformation, they can selectively take data for certain company codes or for certain business units, etc., and put it in the target S4 HANA system. So today what we're going to cover is on the system conversion, which is a second option where a customer would like to migrate or convert an existing ERP system into S4 HANA. So what we need to take care of in order to prepare, if you would like to embark on a S4 HANA conversion, you have plans. What are the things you need to know? And how can you prepare for it? What are the things you can prepare in advance? What are the things you need to be aware of when you get into the project start? So from a system conversion brownfield project, as I said, it can convert an existing ECC system into an S4 HANA. Whatever you have in terms of historical data, master data, transactional data, all your custom code, and everything can come into the S4 HANA system. Of course, it will have to go through the changes that are relevant to S4 HANA, how it is going to work in S4 HANA. Those adoption has to happen as part of the conversion. So entire system is migrated, or we technically call it as a converted. I will explain about why we use the term conversion rather than a migration. Reuse existing implementation is what is the customizations and custom objects can be brought into the target system as is with certain changes. Innovations like there are new Fiori apps that are delivered. You don't want to adopt everything. There are about 500 or 1000 Fiori apps or new functionalities available in S4 HANA. Today, you want to start off with what you have with certain minimal additional facilities, and slowly you want to add in a phased manner new functions or new type of enhancements or line of business, etc. Okay, the one restriction that we have for system conversion is, since we are converting an existing system into S4 HANA, it is only supported for what we call as a on-premise edition of S4 HANA. Now SAP calls it as any premise. It's just a naming. So it can be on your data center, it can be in a private data center, or it can be in a certified cloud like AWS or Azure or Google. That's why they call it as a any premises now. So that's the only supported version. We cannot convert into a S4 HANA Cloud Edition. That is not supported for the conversion. So that's the basic background of the system conversion. So what do we do here? Or the key things that we need to remember: migrate without re-implementation. That means I don't have to recreate all my business processes, the complete customization, develop the interfaces. I don't have to do all the re-implementation. I only need to adapt and change or modify what is required to work on S4 HANA. Minimal business disruption, because you can quickly do this and you don't have to re-engineer everything. So we can quickly get into the S4 HANA without much of a business disruption. Review the customization and code. This is an opportunity for you to review what is really used, what is efficient, and you can basically leverage what is required and probably retire certain things which are no longer going to be used. So these are the key highlights, when we talk about S4 HANA system conversion. So how do I convert? When I talk about converting my ECC system, so the base requirement is my source system has to be ECC 6.0. That is a starting release. You see at the bottom left. And it can be any EHP level. It can be 6.0, no EHP at all, or it can be EHP 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, any of the EHPs, and any database, meaning it can be Oracle, SQL, Sybase, MaxDB, okay, or DB2. We can use any of the supported databases in the source system that can be converted into S4 HANA. And of course, S4 HANA is going to work on the latest version of the HANA database. And also there is an option, if you already have your ECC system like EHP8 running on HANA DB, it is not S4 HANA, but it is ECC, we can still convert that into S4 HANA. So this is possible to convert into S4 HANA in a single step. That means I don't have to go through anything interim, provided there are certain prerequisites that need to be met. So you can go to any of the releases 1809, 1909, 2020. So why do we say 3 releases here? SAP has a support policy of 2 previous releases. Once 2021 gets released, they will support moving to 1909 or 2020 or 2021. So that's the strategy that SAP follows. And what we need to remember, if you're a customer having ECC 6.0, older release, for example, you need to ensure that Unicode is required. That means your source system should be Unicode enabled. Okay, and then ABAP single stack is required. You cannot have a dual stack system, ABAP plus Java. You will not be able to directly convert. SAP HANA database is not mandatory. Okay, it can be any database or it can be SAP HANA database. So these top 2 conditions need to be met for you to be able to start the conversion into S4 HANA. This is a technical requirement. There are more technical requirements we will cover in the next few slides. There are release notes available for each version of S4 HANA that will talk about what are all the prerequisites and what we need to ensure, what is a support pack level, and all those kind of information will be available for each specific S4 HANA target release. So let's first take the technical requirements. If I have to convert my system into S4 HANA 2020 or 1909, for example, from a technical side, there are certain prerequisites. So we have already talked about 6.0 should be there. It can be EHP 0 to 8. only ABAP stack. You cannot have a ABAP plus Java stack. If you have ABAP plus Java stack, you have to first split it. It should be Unicode source system. Any database is supported. You have to check the note for the relevant versions of the source database. For example, Oracle should be 12.2 and things like that. So depending on your source system database, you need to have certain release compatibility. Unsupported OS platforms, this is again, you check the PAM and say, okay, this OS is not supported, maybe you need to upgrade it and things like that. What is your deployment location and where you want to move your target S/4HANA to? This also you need to verify. So assume that your system meets all the requirements, you will be able to start your conversion without any hassle. If there is one of the requirements is not met, what you need to do, your system needs a multi-step upgrade and conversion. So if you don't have any of these things met, you have to perform an interim upgrade or split of dual stack or convert to Unicode or upgrade your OS and database platform. So you need to prepare this for your complete landscape so that you will be able to start with your conversion. So we just talked about the prerequisites, technical prerequisites. So we have what is called as a one step versus two step. So one step is if your prerequisites are all met, we can directly convert. You can have a single downtime. Typically, it will be a weekend, depends on your complexity of the system and how much of size you have and what kind of conversion is taking place. Testing efforts, of course, it's going to be a one cycle of migration or conversion. So you will have certain moderate testing effort depending on the type of business processes and customization that is involved. In a two-step, if your prerequisite is not met for any of the aspects we talked, you have to first do the project, a mini project, move to the supported combination, and then you have to start your S/4HANA conversion from the interim stage to the target S/4HANA. Okay, so this is probably due to the technical dependency. You need to have a phased approach, and you need to plan for multiple downtime. Like, you may do this for production up to development to production or sandbox to production. And then once everything is settled down, give some time and then perform the next project, that is a conversion project. And it may involve higher testing effort. You will have to do one cycle of testing here and one more cycle of testing for the conversion. So this is just to give you an indication, if there is a technical challenge that you cannot proceed in a single step, you may have to plan for this and perform this. Okay, so what do customers think when we say, I want to go for system conversion? Is it the right choice for me? Or should I go for greenfield? Or should I think about transformation? So what are the questions that come into the mind? Few key questions. First of all, is it driven by business or IT? Basically, my current implementation is not supporting my business requirements. There are a lot of inefficient process or anything that is hindering my business, or it could be because of IT reasons, like, I want to stay on the latest releases, SAP support, technology platform, or new modules available. So based on that, you can think what are the options that you can think about. Do I need to re-implement or do I need to go for a conversion? Can you adopt SAP best practices? Do you need to redesign current business process? This is basically from a business angle. So if this is the reason, then you have to look at either a greenfield implementation or kind of a phased transformation approach. But if you need all the customizing in the system or most of the customizing in the system and the custom code plus the any other related things in the system, that is one question which will qualify for a system conversion. Do you need historical data? Then system conversion is a better choice for that. Okay, all data or partial data. And what is the extent of my interface complexity? So I have too many interfaces, 300, 400 interfaces. Okay, if I have to re-implement, it's going to take a lot of effort, a lot of time, and it's not going to be workable for me. I would like to transition, and then maybe later I will redesign my interfaces in a phased manner. That's one question that will be actually a dependency. Multiple ERP systems, source systems, we talked about it. If this is the case, system conversion cannot be done. You have to do a transformation. Okay, prerequisites for single step conversion we just talked about. Yes, if it is meeting the prerequisites, you can go for a system conversion directly. And your innovation roadmap, do I need to adopt a lot of innovations? Is that my priority? Based on that, I can say, hey, if it is, I need to take a lot of innovation initiatives, you may rather go for a greenfield rather than a system conversion. So system conversion, you take what are the low hanging fruits and slowly start adding more innovations as you go by. Same thing with the project timeline and business involvement. In a greenfield or a transformation, you may have more involvement from the business, need more involvement from the business. Whereas in a system conversion, you can achieve it slightly more quicker and also with lesser business involvement, mostly from a change perspective. Whatever has changed and then testing, you will need to have more business involvement there. So these are all the key questions that may help the customer to decide a system conversion is right for me or not. So once you've done that, we need to understand, okay, what does system conversion bring onto the table? When we say system conversion, we are all used to the ECC traditional product. So what happens when we go to system conversion to S4 HANA? It is not a technical upgrade like what you do in EHP 4 to EHP 6 or EHP 7 to EHP 8. That's a technical upgrade where your base remains same and there are certain enhancements that come into the picture. Whereas in S4 HANA, there are two layers that get totally changed, technology and the application stack. So we introduced the in-memory HANA database. Your S4 HANA is primarily built on the platform of HANADB. There are new data models. ABAP coding compliance is one important change because the ABAP code has to work in synchronization with the HANADB features and the in-memory features. And Fiori UI is a default UI. There's a change from the SAP GUI to Fiori UI. SAP recommends and provides a lot of innovations in the Fiori UI functionality. So this is on the technology layer. On the application layer, you have got a lot of new business processes, completely redesigned business process, redesigned data structure. Tables have changed, certain tables have become obsolete and things like that. HANA optimized coding, ABAP coding has become simpler, and then new and obsolete transactions. New transactions are there. Some transactions have become redundant. They are not used. So these are all the kind of changes we need to be remembering when we go for a system conversion. So what are important to remember here from a technology standpoint? ABAP adjustment. You have to make all your custom code work on the HANADB and for S4 HANA. Data migration is an important part because data migration from the traditional database has to move into HANADB. So Oracle or SQL or Sybase to HANADB. So data migration, the complete structure gets changed. In-memory, columnar, and various other things are changed in the database part of it. And Fiori adoption also is important. So these are the three key technical areas that will get impacted in the move to S4 HANA. So whatever worked earlier, if you want to make them work, we need to take care of these three aspects efficiently. From an application perspective, we have what is called a simplification items. You might have come across this term wherever you talk about S4 HANA. Simplification item means basically all the changes that have happened from ECC to the target S4 HANA system. So a change means the way in which a particular process works in S4 HANA vis-a-vis how it worked in ECC. Okay, a table, set of tables, how they have changed. Okay, a certain ABAP coding structure that has changed. So these are all simplification items which we need to take care. There is one important aspect called CVI data conversion. This is called customer vendor integration. This is again part of the application stack. So S4 HANA uses, instead of customer master, vendor master, it uses what is called as business partner. So this is one very critical aspect when we want to convert to S4 HANA. If this is not taken care, you will not be able to convert to S4 HANA. Okay. Custom code adaptation. So here we are making the custom code work in HANA, but here you can make it adapt to the new structure, new process, and the new tables. So those are the things that are relevant to the custom code adaptation in S4HANA. So this is from an application perspective to make the code work properly on the application, also to make the code work more efficiently in terms of performance and using the relevant data structures, etc. So these are the critical things we need to remember from a conversion perspective. And in the next few slides, we're going to talk about how we can address as a customer, if you're planning to start a S4 HANA conversion project, what is that you need to identify in advance, which of these you will be able to perform certain assessment and understand what are the challenges, what are the risks, what is the kind of timeline I need, and things like that. So I will move on to the next slide. Dependencies. So we talked about the structural change. Now we'll talk about the dependencies. Hardware is one of the key areas because we are moving from a traditional ERP into S4 HANA, which means the underlying database is HANA database. So if I have multi-terabyte database in the source system, and if I'm migrating and converting into S4 HANA, my HANA database requirement, server requirement, will be depending on my source system, the type of data, the volume of data available there. Okay, so I need to understand what kind of a system, what kind of a infrastructure I need, and what is needed to provide the relevant performance. And how is it possible for me to optimize it? Because the larger the HANA database server is, it is going to be much more expensive compared to a traditional server. So this is one important area. What kind of a size do I need? Okay, can I scale my system? I start with a certain capacity and then scale based on the requirement, and also look at other things like HADR and various other factors. Complex environment is the next block we have here. There can be a lot of interfaces going inbound, outbound, and there can be a lot of components that are there in the environment. So that can be a very critical area to work on the analysis. Functional changes, what really changes in the functionality, in the way the business process works, how it should be adapted. And the other one is the custom code. Custom code is basically all your Z objects that were developed. A lot of times we find the customers would have developed objects over the past 10 years of their use in SAP. It might have gone through multiple version upgrades. Code was developed when there was no functionality of a particular area. But over a period of time, they would have stopped using it. Many customers, we know that they have thousands of custom objects. Effectively, if you look at it today, they may be hardly using 20 to 25% of the actual custom code that resides in their system. So it is not efficient for us to bring everything. What is the way in which we can identify and bring over the required code? We can eliminate some of the code which are not required and things like that. So this is one dependency. If we don't do it, we're going to get all kinds of inefficient or not required kind of code into the target system. Transition approach, of course, how I'm going to move into the S4 HANA, where I'm going to deploy it. Okay, what is the process I'm going to follow? That's the adoption process. And of course, the project time and cost, how long it is going to take for me, how many times I have to do, like sandbox, development, quality, pre-production, and production. So how many conversion runs I have to do? Do I need to have some multiple iterations to fix certain things, to improve the downtime, optimize the downtime? Okay, and how much of testing I need? So these are all some of the dependencies that we need to think about, when you're embarking into a S4 HANA conversion project. So what effectively, what all does it mean? The timeline is a dependency. Effort, how much resources do we need? How many, people we need in the team, both from the customer side and also from the implementation or the conversion side. What is it going to cost me? And what are the critical areas that can pose a risk to the project? So these are the basic things that we need to remember from a conversion dependency. And earlier we talked about some of the technical aspects, what need to be taken care. So these are some of the preparation. That means we need to identify, analyze, and assess to gauge the quantum of work that is required and where we need to take some advanced steps to efficiently move on to the S4HANA. So from the project perspective, SAP provides the Activate methodology. It's a structured methodology for all types, whether it's an implementation or a conversion or a transformation. Same phases are provided. Depending on the type of project, your activities will change. So we typically do the transition in this form: sandbox, development, quality, and production. So in sandbox, you do a kind of evaluation first, and then follow with the dev, quality, and then finally the production. So what we need here is, we talked about so many dependencies, we talked about challenges, or we talked about possible areas where impact can be there. So general experience is that where customers do not take enough early assessment or understand the dependencies, that is where projects can get elongated. They start off in the project, and in the explore phase or in the prepare phase, they come across few critical problems that need to be addressed, and we have to go through certain fixes, iterations, etc. That increases the project timeline or maybe the complexity, and also to a certain extent a risk factor for the project. So what we recommend is that we have a discover phase. You start the discovery phase well in advance. Some customers do even 6 months in advance, so that we can plan all the other things. Any dependent activities can be also performed, so that we are ready for starting the S4HANA project, when we hit the timeline. So this is very important and very essential, so that you will be able to identify the complexity, identify what actions require to be done. So what do we do in the analyze phase? We do the assessment, analyze the source system, okay, ECC environment, prerequisites, whatever we talked about initially, technical as well as application, dependencies, look at the project dependencies, business dependencies, and all the aspects. Housekeeping, we also talked about some of the things like, how big my system is going to be. Can I reduce the data? Okay, so those kind of housekeeping we can do, or eliminate some of the unwanted code, eliminate some of the unwanted customizing. What are the things that we can bring back to standard? So those kind of things can be assessed, and identify the impact areas where any potential impact is going to be. So this is our recommended approach. We need to focus on discovery phase, where we will be able to identify and decide on a particular roadmap, saying that, hey, these are all the things that need to be done on priority. There are certain things we can look at in the prepare and explore phase, but there are certain things which we can do in advance, so that we are able to move faster and more efficiently, and also with less investment when we get into the project. So just expanding this a little bit, how the system conversion works. We have a preparation phase. That is where we use certain tools to perform all those initial activities, the technical readiness of the system. This is all happening in the ECC system. Your system is still ECC. Application readiness, okay, and then simplification item check. We'll talk about this a little bit. Application data readiness, like customer vendor integration, which is a critical aspect. Custom code analysis. Of course, you can also include, when I say application, it can include the interfaces, integration, and external systems and things like that. So these are things that we do in the preparation phase. Typically, if you look at the previous slide, we talked about sandbox, development, quality, and production. In sandbox, we will do a complete validation of all this. And in development, we'll do all the manual activities. In quality and production, all the customizing and code related things will be transported. Any data related activities will need to be performed in each and every system whenever the execution is going to happen in those systems. So that's the preparation phase. For every system, we will go through the cycle. Once the preparation is done, the custom code analysis and complete preparation is done. At one point, we will start the software update manager, which is a tool to perform the upgrade and conversion. So this tool will execute and it will perform the conversion of the ECC into S4HANA. So there is a certain time up to which your system is available, and then you need to perform certain conversion activities, which is called as a downtime. This is where your downtime will be effectively there for the production system. So what are the things you need to do in downtime? There are application specific activities. There are development custom code specific activities, technical activities like Fiori apps, okay, and then all the cutover activities will be done. So how long this will last? It depends on how well we prepare, how well we are able to reduce the impact of any of the things here, and depends on the type of hardware, depends on the type of processes, what you are able to prepare and perform the activities beforehand. Okay, so if it is going to help you in your project phases, and the more the more planning we do, the more preparation we do, we will be able to reduce the uh, reduce the challenges, reduce the risk, and also reduce the time that is required to perform the overall conversion. So what are the key preparation areas? We talked about some of them earlier. Technical, one is the hardware. What is the required hardware for S4 HANA, the HANA database plus the application servers? You also may require to ensure that your source system is having enough capacity so that your conversion will work efficiently. Compatibility, we already saw that. There are certain compatibility things like your source system compatibility. There are also compatibility relevant to add-ons, third-party add-ons, and certain business functions that are activated. So in S4 HANA, there are certain restrictions. Few add-ons are not supported in S4 HANA. Few business functions are not supported in S4 HANA. So if you have activated any of those, that will become a showstopper. So we have to work with SAP to identify a workaround for performing those conversion. So there are certain add-ons, if they are available in your system, you will not be able to perform the conversion. There are certain business functions, if they are activated, you will not be able to convert to S4 HANA. So that is where we need the involvement of SAP to see how it can be transitioned. Custom code, of course, that's coming under the technical aspect, how to optimize it and how to leverage the existing custom code, how it has to be transformed into the S4 HANA system. Interfaces, UI adoption, like I said, there can be hundreds and thousands of Fiori apps. SAP keeps developing more and releasing it. So do I need everything? I need to only take what is required for my existing functionality, because I'm going to use what I have today. Which are the apps that are relevant for my function today? I will start using it and slowly add more apps as we go forward. So those are the preparation we need to do. We don't have to enable everything. So your system becomes very clumsy, and the performance impact will be there, and you will have some kind of a efficiency and performance problem at the end. So that can be avoided by identifying and what is really needed for the environment we can plan. Application simplification check and data structure changes. As we said, there are a lot of table structures that get changed in S4 HANA. New tables are there. Certain old tables are not going to be used anymore. Certain old tables are obsolete. Okay, so those level of changes need to be identified. Specifically, if you're developed a lot of custom code and they are directly referring to certain existing tables which are not going to be there in S4 HANA, that will become a point of concern for modifications. Data, application data, which I talked about, CVI, that is mandatory. So we have tools available to identify what is the impact of this and what action has to be taken for this. Customizing and process changes also is one. And testing, it's a very important question that comes to every customer's mind. How many test cycles I need to follow? How much of testing I need to do? Do I need to do everything end to end? It's going to be taking too long for me. How many weeks I need to allocate for each testing cycle? Am I going to test everything? In my S4 HANA conversion, I am going to decide which of the functions I'm using today, okay, which of the things that are going to be active in the S4 HANA, only those I want to test. So I can freeze the scope of testing or reduce the scope of testing. So I need to know those impacted areas. Then I will be able to say, okay, you need to test only these top 30 critical processes, end-to-end processes, top 10 critical end-to-end processes. So this is the kind of preparation that it can actually help us with. If we are able to focus on all these things, we have tools available which we can use to do the assessment. So we can use Solution Manager. If you're using certain functionality like a DVM or custom code, you will be able to leverage data from there to identify some of these impacted areas. EWA report, early watch alert, will give you information about what kind of components are there, whether they are supported, not supported. We have a tool called readiness check. I will talk about it in the next slide, next couple of slides. And then simplification item catalog. So we talked about simplification. There is a complete database SAP provides. If you are going to S4HANA 2020, I have a list of all the changes that happened from ECC 6.0. So what is relevant for my system, I will be able to identify. Okay, these are the, out of 500 changes, there are 40 changes which are relevant to this particular system. These are all the areas where the changes need to take place. So that kind of a review need to be done. Then we have ABAP test cockpit. Typically it is used in the project execution, but if you do a sandbox or a POC, we can use this to arrive at more of a custom code impact. Which code is going to get, it is going to break, which code will not work, where you will get syntax errors, where you will get table errors. So those kind of things we can do with the ABAP test cockpit. Fury app library will give you information about all the available apps. Then you will be able to map it to what functionality you have, and you'll be able to figure out the filtered list of Fury apps that are required for us. So there are tools available. Okay, we can use it for performing the assessment and identifying more focused areas that need to be taken care. Okay, also identify actions that need to be done beforehand. Simplification list, it is a very important topic in S4HANA. Generally, how do we know when we move from ECC into S4HANA? It's a totally new technology, new design, new data structures, coding structures, business processes are simplified. That means, there are a lot of processes which, if it runs on 10 steps in ECC, same process may run in 4 steps in S4HANA. They have combined in such a way that it is running in a much simplified manner in S4HANA. So how does one know what are the changes that are available in the S4HANA system? It's very impossible to go through the whole list of, like a new implementation. We can't go through the complete list of processes and find out how they are working here, what are the, what are the steps, what are the tables and things like that. So SAP provides a simplification list of all the changes that have happened from a particular version of ECC 6.0 into, for each release of S4HANA, it provides a catalog. So if you are going to target 2020, okay, and your source is 6.0 EHP7, you can get a list of all the changes that have taken place in the system. So you focus on what is there for your particular release. You don't have to really look at everything that is there in the standard product. Okay, so this is a tool which is available yeah, online. We can check it with your SUser ID. You can check it out and you'll be able to get the listing. But this is a general list. This is for the entire product, standard product. So there are, let's say, 500 changes. Are all the 500 changes applicable to me? In my system, I have activated certain functionalities, certain types of customizing, okay, certain types of data management, etc. So I want to know only if there are 30 or 40 changes that are impacted in my system. I want to take care of only that. I don't have to spend time in looking at all the 500 changes. So what we have here is basically a functionality which we can deploy in our ECC system. So in your source system, we will deploy a set of programs, a set of nodes, okay, and then we will execute certain reports. I say that my target is going to be, take in this example, the screen that you're seeing, 1909 initial, okay, it can be 1909 feature pack stack 2, 2020 FPS 1. So depending on what my target release is, I will execute a report. and it is going to come back with a list of all the impacted simplification items. So out of the total 500 or 600 or 700, I'm going to see the list of impacted objects, impacted changes that need to be taken care. Okay, these are mandatory. So if you look at the report here, you see the relevance. These line items are relevant. For example, master data, business partner. This is mandatory. Finance GL, general ledger. So there is a particular configuration in my system which is not meeting the S4HANA approach. Okay, generic checks. Okay, learning solution, asset accounting. So there are each and every change line item is there. It will tell you whether it is meeting the requirement or it is not meeting the requirement. So what does the status indicate? If it says stop for this particular item, you cannot proceed with the conversion until you fix it. Okay, this line item, business partner, is a mandatory thing. Your current system is not complying with the requirements of S4HANA. So you have to read through the process. You have to actually perform the activities that are relevant to this and then make it green. Then only you will be able to move forward. Sorry. There are certain items appearing in red. It can be a roadblock. It will prevent you from going forward. But there are a few things which I can bypass and say, I will handle it later. So there are certain things which are warnings. We need to evaluate it. Certain things are, okay, everything is fine. I don't need to do any action on this. So this is a very important thing which we can do in advance. Another tool that is available, this is an optional tool, but we highly recommend this for all our customers. We do this in the source system. It is called as Readiness Check 2.0. Again, it's a set of tools that we deploy in the ECC system. Typically, we have to do it in the production system. Okay, we can put it in development, transport it to quality and production. So it's a standard SAP tool which will help to analyze various aspects. We talked about compatible add-ons, we talked about custom code, we talked about business functions, simplification check, how many are relevant to my system. So there are a lot of things we can check here. Data migration, how much of data is available for migration, how much of data need to be considered, okay, and then what are the Fiori apps that are relevant to my system. So these are some of the things that are available from the readiness check. So we have to deploy this in the ECC system, execute it, then we will upload the data into the portal, SAP portal, and we get a nice report like this. We will be able to drill down and identify what are the critical impacted areas, and we'll prepare a kind of a estimation and also impact areas that need to be addressed. Okay, and also a kind of a timeline, like certain things can be done in advance or certain things can be handled only during the conversion process. So this is a readiness check that is available. Always we recommend to perform this in the production system well ahead of the project. So when I say production system, why? Custom code, it is not enough if you simply know what are all the custom code available in the system and what are impacted. We also need to know, as I said, not all custom code is going to be used regularly. So in my system, which of the custom code are actively used over the last 3 months, 6 months? Okay, so we can identify with the help of certain tools. So only in production you will have that information on the usage of Z transactions or Z reports and Z objects. So we will be able to get the statistical information from the production system. Also the data, the real data volume, real data related information we can get only from the production. So many customers have a concern that, hey, you want to install a tool in our system, you want to extract some data, are you going to take some important business data? No, it does not take business data. It only takes some of the statistical information on the type of objects, number of objects, the configuration items and things like that. Master data, yes, it will check, that's part of the application data, but transactional data and those things, it will not pick up anything. So security concern is generally there from the customers, most customers, but it is addressed. This tool does not take any business relevant information into the analysis. So what do I get from here? What size of HANA server do I need? So it has an information on what kind of a sizing do I need for the HANA database based on the current system, based on the type of data that I have in the system and based on the distribution of data. So this is a very useful thing. In advance, I will be able to understand how much of size I need to plan for my production system. Similarly, I can work backwards on the quality and development sandbox, etc. Are my add-ons compatible with the target S4HANA? I mentioned about this in the technical dependency. So there are a few add-ons which are not supported. We can identify with the help of the tool. And business functions which are activated, are they compatible? So there is something called as a always on and always off business functions. So if any business function is said to be always off in S4HANA, if you have it in the source system, then you can't convert. So that is a dependency here. So we need to also analyze your existing activated business functions. Okay, that will also be done in the readiness check. Which Fiori apps are relevant to my release? That can be available. Simplification items are relevant to my current release. Just like the previous report which I mentioned, you will get the details of this with more information on categorization, which are complex, which are medium, which are simple. That level of details will be available. Custom code, will it work? What actions are required? How much of custom code is there? How many of these are like table related? How many are related to programmatic, syntax errors? Those kind of information we will be able to get from this. What is the extent of testing required? Again, based on a combination of all these things, we will be able to arrive at, hey, I need to focus on these so I can plan for my testing requirement, how many cycles and how much of test scenarios that I need to consider. So in a nutshell, these tools like simplification item check and readiness check and the few other checks, that the tools that I talked in the previous slides, we will deploy them and then use them in order to identify your complexity, identify what are the critical areas, what are the things that need attention, okay, and which ones you can do in advance without impacting your business, without affecting your production operations or business operations. There are certain things we can start doing months in advance. Take an example of, let's say, archiving. If I want to reduce the database size, now in this case, I get my current database size of ECC is 5 terabyte, for example. And the size of HANA server, it gives that you need 1.5 terabyte. 1.5 terabyte comes with a certain cost, depending on your the type of deployment, the type of a high availability or disaster recovery, and what type of infrastructure you need, comes with a certain cost. So is there a possibility for me to reduce 1.5 to 1? So if I have to do that, I have to reduce my source system size. So I have 12 years of data, historical data in the system. Do I need everything to come here? Can I offload 3 years or 4 years of the old data by doing archiving? That will in effect, it will translate to reduction in the HANA database server size. So these are the things that we can kind of work upon based on the analysis that we come across here.
Ramesh, quick time check. There are 7 minutes. And before you move to the next slide, there is a question from Wilkinson.
Okay.
The readiness check, should that be performed on a production system or would a copy of a production system suffice?
Okay, you can do it on a copy of production system, but only things you will not get there is a realistic data estimation, number one. Second is on the usage of your data and usage of custom code. So that's very important. If you're able to analyze which are really used, you will be able to focus your efforts according to that. Otherwise, we will get an analysis, but you'll not be able to filter saying that, hey, these are all important for us.
So net, it would be ideal to do it on a production system.
Production system. That's the recommendation.
Yeah. Thanks, Ramesh. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, I know that we are nearing the end of the session. So just a couple of more slides. I will cover that. Pros and cons. Quicker transition. Instead of doing a complete re-engineering, we can do it quickly. There are standard tools available for us to perform this. Minimal business disruption. We saw that. Entire historical data can be brought over depending on what is required. innovations can be faced, and there is no need to load external data. You don't have to use any ETL tools or anything for the system conversion. The SAP tool will take care of all the changes to the data. What are the challenges or cons? Technical prerequisites, we talked about it. Housekeeping, to reduce the unwanted things or to also reduce the data. Custom code and interface. Re-engineering is difficult. In this case, you're trying to bring everything over from the old system to the S4HANA. So you don't want to do re-engineering. It'll take a lot more of time. Downtime, again, depends on the DB size. Multiple iterations may be required for us to optimize and perform reduce downtime conversions. So best practices, what we have seen, validate all the source system, the add-ons, business functions, reduce the data volume as much as possible. Two ways it is going to help. It will reduce the footprint of the target infrastructure. It also helps us to reduce the time required for doing the conversion. That is, the downtime will be less. The less amount of data you have, downtime will be less. Simplification item check, we talked about it. There are critical or mandatory items. If you don't qualify, then your conversion cannot happen. So we need to perform those fixes well in time. Custom code and remove waste is one important thing. Again, taking a question back to the whether I do it on the analysis on production or sandbox. If you do in production, you will be able to identify out of the total 5,000, only 1,000 are used or 500 are used. So you can decide if things are not used for over a year, you are not going to use it. So you can remove the unwanted code. Interface, absolutely essential, because what changes take place in S4HANA, whether it is compatible on the other side, that need to be taken care. Business partner data, this is very important, and mandatory application settings, because finance and logistics are the most affected areas. We need to ensure that all the changes take place. So how Kelton can help, what we can do, start planning in advance. We can do an assessment workshop. We can also perform a POC in a sandbox. We can take a copy of production and do that. Best practice recommendations, whatever we have come across with reference to your environment, we can come up with a recommendation. Also housekeeping in production, like data reduction and things like that. So we can come up with these kind of activities for you. And how can we help? Discover. Primarily, we can look at all the infrastructure, the systems, the applications, etc. Analyze the complexity, dependency, and business criticality, both from a system as well as from a project perspective. And categorize the things like which are priority, which can be done in advance, and which can be done during the later stage. And also we will come back with a recommendation of what is the impact, how much of time it is going to take, what is the best way to do it, and also come up with a roadmap for the conversion. So pretty much what we have covered, all the critical aspects that you need to remember, which you would like to perform in advance so that your project can go through smooth. The reason why we talked about all this is that there is a general perception that S4HANA conversion is complex. Okay, people start the project and they get delayed in the project for various reasons, or they get kind of bottlenecks that they're not able to progress. So majority of these, most of these can be addressed or avoided by doing a effective planning and also performing some of the required activities in advance. So you can also spread out your plan, spread out your activities in such a way that you will be able to achieve some of these things in a step-by-step manner.
Ramesh,
So
couple of questions.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Does suit on HANA DB migration need code remediation, which is applicable for S4HANA conversion?
Yes, if you are migrating from ECC to HANA DB migration, code remediation is required to the extent that the code has to work on HANA DB. When you move to S4HANA, there are new changes in process, in tables. Okay, those things are also additional in S4HANA.
Okay, and with regard to implications on Vistex and EDI, enterprise.
Yeah, typically EDI should work okay. It depends on the type of interfaces, type of objects that we are having. If there are changes, structural changes to the tables in the source system, the mapping and other things will need to be adjusted. It's not going to, totally break or things like that. So there may be certain adjustments that are required, which are part of the interface adjustments.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much, Ramesh. Really appreciate that. Over to you, Jatin.
Yep. Thanks, Dr. Bandi and Mr. Ramesh. Thanks for the awesome session. I think this is all the time we have right now. Probably we have, we are at the brink. So for the audience, if you have any additional questions, please free to email us by responding to the email address on your webinar invite, and we will respond to you promptly. As I mentioned earlier, we will be sending out the recorded version of this webinar in the next few days along with the deck. If you would like to start any new conversations with us, please email us at ask@keltinec.com or visit our website at www.keltinec.com. Thank you again for joining us. You have been a fantastic audience. Bye-bye and have a good day. Thanks.
Thank you. Have a great day. Bye-bye.